Hey guys, welcome to my video. Do you want fucking 5k life regen, 5k ES regen, and 5k mana regen all on one character? Oh, my wife is sleeping. She probably hates me. Hello Exiles, welcome to my quick little build guide of sorts for a hardcore SSF toon. We're playing this league. We have essentially a little bit of numbers for life recovery, for ES recovery from flasks, and mana recovery from flasks, all at about 5k. We're on a level 82 Amazon. We came across a little unique that is making this all happen, and just kind of want to get the idea out there for explaining it. Kind of what builds we've gone through and what iterations we've taken, and statting options as well. If you don't want all these three, you can also toss on just a build for something like life, and you get something in the numbers of 7,800 life recovery as well. This is in no way min-maxed, sweated out entirely, but here it goes. Non-unique life flasks apply their effects constantly. Recovery from life flask cannot be instant. The recovery from your life flask cannot be applied to anything other than you, i.e. I believe allies or minions or companions. And then the item has a 40 to 60% less life flask recovery. I have evolved this to get down to 36. Not that that's imperative to the build numbers you're seeing in any way. We also have a flask that is tier 2 on one that uses mana as well, just for the highest value possible. I have a 23% on this. This can be scaled up much more. But essentially, we started to play around with things to make this work. Currently, the Chevron Satchel is what reduces the overall regen with it, and then gives the ability to have Life Flask cover Energy Shield as well. I started this character out on a Ritualist for the reasons shown here. Just a little node of increased life recovery rate, which is very, very good. It is another margin of increase. And the Wildwood persistence, where I thought that if I had lost any mana or lost any life, the recovery rate would be essentially effectively 10x'd, well, 10 times, 10% there. But however, once we brought the Chevrons into the mix, the ideas for that changed, and then I swapped over to get the node on the Amazon, which is life of flasks also recover mana. So in this tree, I've got essentially most of the life recovery rate for flasks selected, the Oasis, which means you can't use charms, and one extra node for mana recovery here. It brings it up to par on the 5k realm of each of the others. Otherwise, it would be a little bit lower for that. I've got some jewels, essentially, that have very minimum values of life recovery as well for flasks. I've got one little timeless jewel with a small moderate 2% that I filled out some extra nodes on, and extra nodes over here and here. We tried a couple different options for scaling damage. I kind of went for the base principle of this build idea going in something like this. This is kind of close to what I think would be good point-wise for a base part of the build, and you don't need these damage nodes here. This is a stretch. This is not needed. You can cut this all off here. So the main principle of like 60 allocated nodes gets you a good portion of the sustain for the build. From that, everything else can be done to facilitate damage needs or anything for builds that you want to do. I tried a couple ideas of doing something automated for like something with cast on crit type builds, to minion loop builds, to do Iron Ward. Right now I'm still doing like I'm trying to get some more cold skills going on here with a +4, +3 here. But I'm in hardcore SSF at 82 with limited stash and things to do. I've used 100+ divines in the past couple days to do like excess crafting. I think any build can be built around this. The main first option with going all the way over to here and getting these nodes was to get something like the surround helmet, to be able to get all these surrounding nodes and facilitate that with extra damage filler for just attack skills, which still might be the overall goal. I've got lots of stuff to test still. Honestly, like, the results we're getting when we swap certain pieces kind of don't make a lot of sense sometimes. This has increased flask light recovery rate of 49%. If I put this on versus something that has two different... maybe I answered my own question. When it's worded as increased flask life recovery rate, it is far superior to the 20% on the implicit, 25% on the implicit for flasks. And I don't know why those numbers vary, but these numbers, essentially you see that the Rislatha's is higher. The things that are really imperative that I found out, the hard to kill, the same wording again. Flask life recovery rate is just more superior than the others. Like from flasks. So same with Oasis. Like, this node hard to kill essentially did the same amount as Oasis when I was testing it early on. Like I said, I'm on a budget in SSF Hardcore. I'm sure this can be entirely min-maxed completely on a trade league. I just crashed my game by hitting Alt. That's really cool. But the game in the background is just going to shit itself. I think the principle can be built around any of this. The options that I thought about as well, you have during flask effect, works all the time. So things like stimulants was selected here first, as well as crystal elixir that gives elemental damage during a flask effect, and this cool one over here, which does imbibed power. This one's a weird one that says increased damage during any flask effect. I assume that works for any kind of persistent spells to do damage, any kind of spells, any kind of attacks, all encompasses damage during flask effect. So that is cool on itself. I'll load this back up, but the whole idea and concept was really interesting. I just need to work on finishing my character to build out the rest of the defenses for energy shield and life, and potentially going into even dabbling into some conversion to mana, damage taken as mana. There's a couple options for a few small nodes here and here. I won't probably travel as far to get the ones over on this side of the tree. But there are lots of options that I'm going to try the next few days and see what I can do. But I thought I'd let the community know of like how cool I think this is to see all the stuff that's going on with the chest and where we are now. It's very, very strong. I was using a talisman and in bear form, getting frozen, getting shocked, getting beat up in T15 maps with multiple mods, and still coming out alive. There were some close calls, but yeah, we're trying to have fun and test it some more. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to stop by the stream. We'll be testing it every day, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.